You're listening to Kayak Flyer with your host, Sean. Tonight, we're brought to you by Tennessee Trailers, OutdoorAdventureTrailers.com. Simply the best way to get your kayak to and from the water. Bajuco Flats Fly Co. Simply the best custom-made fly rods on the market, always built to order just the way you want it. Find Bajuco Flats Fly Co. on Instagram and Facebook. StoneflyNets.com, made 100% in the great state of Arkansas with your choice of woods or burls. Stonefly nets can even be customized for that favorite fisher person in your life. Check out StoneflyNets.com for details. CutthroatFurledLeaders.com, the only leaders that I fish with. Cutthroat Furled Leaders are excellent for saltwater, freshwater, trout, bass, you name it, you can catch it with a Cutthroat Furled Leader. Head to CutthroatFurledLeaders.com, promo code KAYAK to save 15%. You know, gang, the funny thing is we try and keep Adam on the show as much as possible, but he's got this thing called a family. And I don't know what that is, but evidently that is something that keeps him entirely too busy. So he couldn't be with us tonight. So I am here on my lonesome with my new friend, Pamela, who runs Women, Wine, and Waiters. Did I say that right? Did I get in the right order?
You certainly did. Sounds great.
So this is a club that you have. You've got a website as well. And you've got the club on Facebook, and you do a lot of different things to encourage gals to get out there and go fly fishing. And that's a really neat thing. We don't see nearly enough ladies in the industry out there that are fly fishing. And so you're working with a diverse group to bring fly fishing into not just your area, but across the United States for women.
Yes, mostly we're here in West Virginia. Eventually we want to do some more specific traveling further out west and hopefully the Gulf Coast, Louisiana for reds. Do some more destination trips at some point, but right now we're mostly right here in West Virginia.
And you've got a pretty strong following. A lot of folks have really come along with you on your journey and your adventure here. How did you get started in fly fishing, and what made you want to share that with other ladies?
I was never a girl of the outdoors until about 7 years ago. I had actually was a blind date, took me out on a trip out on the water and got me hooked up on my first trout on the fly. And I really enjoyed it. Took me a while to catch anything on my own. But it was really, it was a good thing for me to be doing at a time in my life when I needed it. And it was an encouraging thing for me to do. It just kept my mind occupied and was a positive thing. And I thought, well, I'm really enjoying this. I should start asking some of my friends if they'd like to try this. And, it's a great way for the girls to have a good excuse for a slumber party and take off and do a girls' weekend, if nothing else. But I started just reaching out to friends in the beginning and say, hey, let's do this. Let's go here and let me teach you how to do some fly fishing. And it just evolved from that, and it just went like wildfire. I've got ladies from our surrounding states coming to West Virginia to fish on our waters. We've got some beautiful locations here, rock formations, loaded up streams, just beautiful stuff, cabins, that are luxurious, and hot tubs. And we just got it going on here. It's been a hidden gem. I tell them it's a hidden gem, and the secret's out. The secret's out what we've got here.
I think that's a lot of the reasons why guys go fly fishing too. I know my buddies and I will rent a Airbnb and we'll go down and, we fish and we catch fish, but there's a lot of laughing and drinking beers and enjoying each other's company as well. And I think that's something everybody needs, whether they're married at home or not.
I tell them, sisters, mothers, wives, grandmothers, we all need a trip. We all need time to ourselves and to make new friends. As we get older, I had one of the ladies on my trip said, Pam, it's harder as we get older to make friends and keep friends. A lot of people start retiring, empty nesters. There's all sorts of reasons. I hear it all why, hey, I need this trip. This trip's good. I'm glad I found you when I did. There's tons of reasons, but the main reason is we all need support. fun, support, and it's
Yeah,
encouraging.
I think that's 100%. I had two of my really good friends, moved to this area, one from Texas and one from the DC area. And we only got to know each other via fly fishing. And it's one of those where, they've got other friends, but it's they sort of made all their good friends through the fishing community. And so,
Connection. It's the connection, and it leads you to those friends. Probably at least 50% of my friends have been through that connection of fly fishing. It's just been wonderful. And they're some of the best friends and they're lifelong friends. And, you know, whether they're in Pennsylvania, Virginia, Tennessee, down south, you can call them up and say, hey, let's do this, or, let's plan a trip. And they're always right in there. They're ready to go. Of course, that
yeah,
was
my one request for it,
pro COVID at least.
my one Oh yeah, exactly. My one request for anybody that I take fishing is that they know how to remove a hook from my finger. That's
I've not had that happen. Thank goodness. I hope I never do.
oh, it's so much fun when it does.
I try to stay barbless.
Barbless.
Yeah, I try to stay barbless to stay away from that problem.
Yeah, I turned into a huge barbless fan last
Oh, no
summer.
doubt. Couple,
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to do it.
But um, we always hear about, guys always taking these guy trips and going hunting and going fishing and doing all of these things. And so, to have something that the ladies and the girls can have the girls trip and things like this. And like I said, you get to see some really beautiful parts of the country. How many ladies have been with you fishing that never would have planned on this and now love it to death? How many of them just got hooked, literally?
You know, we have anglers from beginners to advanced to guides that'll actually come here and do these trips with us. Um, I would say, oh, people that's never, majority, there's been a lot of them that's never even fished before, much less fly fished. I'd say it's a high percentage. I wouldn't even know where to put that percentage number at, but it would be a high percentage. And,
Do most of them come back again and again?
oh yeah, oh yeah, a lot of them are repeat girls. Yeah. Well, for one thing is, it's the connection of the fishing together, but it's the friendships that they make on these trips. And a lot of times we're in different states, different locations, or maybe, across to the other end of the state. And this is their one chance to actually get to see those friends again and make that connection, do some fishing and laughing. And, I had one of the girls say, when she leaves these trips, her face hurts where she's laughed so much. Her face hurts so bad. I said, well, that's great. That just shows you how much fun these girls have. And
Yeah, definitely.
I
And,
will,
that's one of the big things.
oh, I'm sorry. I will tell you, we try to do some fly fishing shows. The Virginia Fly Fishing and Wine Festival held in Virginia is one that we started doing last year. And we went as spectators the year before, and we were down there, and of course we were running around, the area, and we all had our logo, wearing the logo that we have, and of course everybody was curious as to what this group was, and so we started talking to the wine vendors at that show, and everybody's giving us their business cards, and they're like, you know what? Give us a call. We'd like to be involved with your group somehow. You've got wine in your group name. It would be interesting to see if we could work out. And I thought, that would be pretty cool to have a wine sponsor because, hey, we all can use sponsors. It helps us with the extra little, whether it's product or otherwise. Everybody likes to have that sponsor to help them along. So when we got back to West Virginia, the girls and I were all traveling together. And I said, if we got that kind of response from all these vendors out of state, I'm going to make some cold calls and I'm going to find somebody in West Virginia to sponsor us. And it was my very first cold call. we made an appointment for a meeting. And I pulled up in this, the owner's driveway, and hanging out on their porch was a pair of waders. And it said, "Can't wait for spring." And I knew right then it was in the ballpark. It was just there. We had them. So during that meeting, we actually made the deal, and our official wine sponsor for the group is based out of West Virginia. It's West Virginia Fruit and Berry. They do wines and preserves, and they have a new. They're starting to have brandy out now. So, yeah, we're really proud to be a part of that West Virginia business. So, and
Oh
the
yeah, definitely. And the sponsors that they help you in so many ways, but you also, as being a good ambassador, you're helping them as well. And I don't think a lot of people understand. I have sponsors on the show, and luckily they don't listen to the show, so they still sponsor me.
I got you.
But I have other friends that have sponsors, and they've really got to be, everything they do is a certain way, and there's a two-way relationship in that. And a lot of people don't understand how that sponsorship relationship works with groups. And we've had conversations for hours about that. But to find, a like-minded winery that is going to be more than happy to help you guys out, that's a great thing to have.
It is, and the owners fish. The husband, he's a fly fishing man, and his wife has been on the trips, and she's learning how to fish. They're just great West Virginia people, and it is nice. And of course, the girls enjoy all the products on our trips. And speaking of, they do watch us. They join us on some of our, you know, on our social media accounts. They'll make comments and see our comments, but we never post pictures of the dead soldiers in the dirt the next day and stuff. We don't post those bottles. we don't put out there. But
Yeah.
it is nice.
You're taking a bottle.
One bottle. So it is very nice, and I've had other sponsors as far as some wading boot companies and Coca-Cola. Our local Coca-Cola bottle company here has sponsored us. So there is a lot of people. I feel like the fly fishing industry is hit pretty hard. Everybody asking and needing things. There's only so much they can do. So I go outside of the fly fishing industry for a lot of things, because as women, a lot of women make decisions on vacations and family decisions. So there's a lot of other ways to pull in sponsorships, and I try to work those
Yeah,
angles. So
I get told where I'm going on vacation quite a bit.
yeah,
So
the women
and
run the
yeah,
show at home, don't they?
yeah, I'm told what I'm going to wear while I'm on vacation, what I am not allowed to pack to wear while I'm on vacation. Evidently, that whole going out in public thing is a big deal if you're not dressed right.
Sounds like your wife's got things going on.
Yeah, that it does. What I think is really amazing with this group, I mean, there has been a huge push in the industry to involve more women and especially younger kids and girls in the sport. And, granted, yours is a 21 and up club, thus the wine. But, you know, bringing additional people into the sport anytime I think is great. And I really can't believe being hesitant about contacting some of the fly fishing folks, when you tell them, the group that you're catering to, because, that is maybe they don't want, I mean, maybe, I guess it could be a bad thing. Now, all of a sudden people know how much fly rods cost instead of what we tell them they pay for, we've paid for it, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
oh, but yeah, I think it would be. I think you really ought to reach out to a couple of those too, just to be on the
Well,
other side.
I have in the past. I have in the past, and I still will. It's just I try not to ask for too much, and
Yeah,
because everybody is hit hard, and So we try to keep it simple and just what we need, and it's all about having fun. It's just getting the ladies out, and I tell them, I said, everybody needs a break, and especially, and that leads me to my next thing. Every year, we usually, other than the past year has been difficult for everyone, but normally on our fly fishing festival that we have our big one annually, that is the trip where we take somebody that's fighting or has fought cancer or a life threatening disease. We take them on the trip free. It's kind of like support system. It's new friends for this person. Get them on the water. Get them on a weekend where they can just forget and get away from their problems. It's really worked out well, and I'm proud that we were able to do that, and I hope we're able to continue to do that every year. So it's made it. I'm
Yeah,
hoping
and I will.
for ladies, it's made a big difference in their life.
Well, I will definitely drop some Cutthroat Furled Leaders in the mail for you to give away at your next event,
Oh, thank
to help out the folks in the club and to get my friends leader company out there a little bit more. But I will definitely drop those in there for you, and we'll give one away tonight, guys. If you go over, if you have either yourself or your significant other, go over and check out the Women Wine and Waiters on both. You're on Facebook and Instagram. So if you want to go over there and check that out, we'll throw an extra leader in if you just go ahead and comment and tag Kayak Flyer in that, and we'll find somebody to mail one of those to you. I think we can round somebody up. So that'll be a good way to do it whenever we post the show too. And just get more people involved and interested. Now, when do you normally have your annual trip? Is it a fall trip or a spring trip?
It's a spring trip. Spring trout fishing is the best time in here in our state. Fall is usually water's low. We're usually in dry. It's hard to plan a whole lot in the fall unless it's more towards November. And I love winter fishing. I like getting out in the ice and snow and fishing. That for me. That's prime time because there's not hardly anybody else on the rivers, and it's like you've got the place to yourself. If you can just handle the cold, you're in good shape. So, but normally that big trip is in the spring, usually April. And
Are you guys fishing? I guess you're fishing natural streams then.
Well, the trip in the spring we plan at Harmon's Luxury Log Cabins. It's actually in Cabins, West Virginia. It is cabins on they've got 3 miles of privately owned stream, and it's stocked, and that's where we have that trip. And it's the girls just love that place. They've got hot tubs at all the cabins, and if somebody wants to cut out and go back to the cabin early for whatever reason and read or get it in a hot tub, it's really a very nice place. We have a lot of locations here in the state that are like those. That's really nice. So, and then I usually run some trips.
A lot of our trout.
But usually it's late in the
A lot of our trout around here are coming from. Oh, sorry. There's a little bit of a lag there, so I didn't mean to talk over you. I'm sorry about that. We have a lot of trout coming out of dams, so the water's coming out of the lake, and then they're in those rivers that come out from that. So we don't have in a lot of our trout water. We don't worry as much about the water level dropping too much. Usually it's too high from where they're generating too much electricity off those dams. But man, I'm gonna tell you what, brown trout at night in the fall throwing big mouse flies. That's
Well, here, for trout being a cold water fish, we just don't have the water or the temperature to keep a lot of wild trout. But we try to fish as much as we can when we can, and we try to make good use of our time. And we do.
You guys ever chase any smallmouth bass or?
Well, I started last summer and on a new river here, and I'm hoping to maybe do some trips on the new river, do some bass fishing. I think the girls would like that. So it's a little more difficult to run trips.
Yeah, they're a lot less picky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
They're a lot less picky than trout. They wake up angry and they stay that way all day, and so
well,
you'll get a lot more reactionary bites.
well, I'm hoping to try that eventually. Some more. I went last summer, so I'm hoping to do that some more. But in the fall, I did start running 2 years ago. Found a location for the girls, and to reach out. We're trying to get more ladies on the water fly fishing. So in order to do that, I started booking cast and blast trips. We do skeet shooting and trout fishing right there in the same spot. And that's I'm trying to bring over ladies that are more into skeet shooting, bring them into fly fishing. They have a little bit of both, and that trip has been really phenomenal. That has been a good trip, and I'm tickled. I hope I get to run some this fall because it's just fantastic, and the fishing on in that area is just unbelievable, unbelievable, and all species of
Yeah,
trout are
clay
fun.
birds have become increasingly popular over the past year and a half, a lot more than they were. I think people are rediscovering getting outside and doing some things. And, I've talked to, one of my friends runs River Road Creations. They make cutters for making foam flies. And, he's had to double his production with half the staff that he was allowed to have at one point in time. And he's not complaining, but he's still saying, I can't get enough product out the door now, because there are so many people that started fly tying, and vices are the same way. There are a lot of things, and feathers. I mean, fly tying really took off, and it stayed with us through the winter. And we've got a lot of new people out there that are fly tying. And just the same way, I've seen a lot of guys that I know who've started hitting me up and asking me about fly rods and fly fishing. And also, I've seen a lot of increase in people picking up shotguns and going to the skeet and trap range. Places that you used to just be able to roll up and, maybe have a 5-10 minute wait before somebody got done. Now you're backed up.
Yeah.
And it's great for the industry. It really is great for the industry. And it's great to get people out there and show them what else there is. West Virginia is sort of like Missouri. I think everybody sort of understands that the outdoors are important to us.
Yes.
But I also think that it's something that needs to be concreted back down every once in a while for people who just take advantage of it.
And we need to take more advantage of it. This is the opportune time to do that, to be more so in the outdoors and than indoors. And, what a better way to get away and have time to yourself, away from everyone, and just enjoy the outdoors, no matter what it is you're doing. So fishing, skeet shooting, uh, hiking, whatever it might be, it's a good time. Right now is the best time to be out there. So,
Yeah. And I don't know if you've been looking for kayaks lately, but you can't find them. I mean, they're flying off the shelves, and it seems like everything outdoor related. So this is a great time if you've never been fly fishing or skeet shooting and you want to reach out and you live in the West Virginia area, reach out to Women Wine and Waders and check out some of the things they can do, or at least find out where to go. I mean, that was how I met you. Was my friend Chris was going up, and he had seen a post by you where you'd posted about fishing, and he contacted me. He's like, where can I go fishing at? And you'd really helped him out. So don't be afraid to reach out there on those groups and ask people about fishing. You might find out a lot more, than you intended, and actually have a really great trip.
well, and on some of the social media platforms, I've had people as far as California contact me about where to stay, where to fish here in West Virginia, and I'm more than happy to help them. Anything talking about patterns, what to use, different times of year, anything I can do to help them. Hey, tourism's a big part of West Virginia now. There's not a lot of jobs here, so we depend a lot on tourism. So come on down. We'd love to have you. Show you around and get you fishing on our streams.
Yeah, I know. My wife absolutely loves the Appalachian Mountain chain and everything from the Blue Ridge all the way up. I mean, she just really enjoys that part of the country. And it's one of those where we can both agree to go, and she'll drop me off on a stream and then she and the kids will go to whatever they want to do. And then 7 or 8 hours later, they come back, and I'm still there fishing. Along. I've worked my way back. I've take a watch with me, and I work my way back to meet them. But it's one of those where it's like it's a family vacation, but we're dropping Dad off at the shore, at the river, and letting him wander around for a day.
Be nice if your wife got out and started fishing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that she would figure out how much I actually paid for everything.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Sean.
Yeah. Yeah. When I check out at the fly shop, they charge me an extra $5 to make a fake receipt.
That's good. That's good. Well, you were talking. We were talking about.
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that my 16-year-old daughter, she fly fishes now.
Oh,
and she's given up the spinning reel. And so I take her fly fishing now, and so she gets a real thrill out of it. So that's a win for Dad.
I know you're tickled about that. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. As soon as I get her to tie her own flies and stay out of mine, I'll be happier.
Yeah, that or teach her some roll casting and keep her out of the trees and losing them as well. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fishing season when the fly trees are in full bloom.
Oh, yeah, and Christmas time they're decorated early.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. But,
West Virginia. Oh.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead, please.
You ask the questions. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask about West Virginia as a whole. Are you on the eastern side or are you on the western side of the mountains?
I'm central in Charleston area, the Charleston, West Virginia area, the capital of West Virginia.
And so you've got a lot of brook trout coming down through those streams then?
Actually, we have to go to the eastern part of the state towards closer to the border of D.C. and Maryland and Virginia for our trout streams.
Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing
okay.
as far as trout. It's in the colder water areas. It's too warm central and on the western side of the state. It's too warm for trout. So we travel from the Charleston area. It's about 3 hours travel to get to a trout stream for us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because the last time I was in the, I guess it'd be extreme eastern Tennessee and North Carolina, I guess I fished for trout, but they were mainly rainbows and brook trout were all that were really there at the higher elevations.
Yeah.
So
not so much.
It's a beautiful country. Beautiful country.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So when you guys are planning these trips, are you looking to, I know you had to miss this year's trip. Are you planning on moving some of those to different locations? Are you going to try and keep them in West Virginia, or thinking about trying to do different locations and more events? I know it's expensive to plan and to do, but it also seems like something that you're very passionate about. So I don't know if you were looking at other locations or venues.
Yeah, I am. The majority of all the trips so far have been here in the state. And, I'm a little bit closer to retirement, and that's when I'll be able to put more time into this. Everybody's like, well, when you retire, you're supposed to not work. But you mentioned the passion. I enjoy this. I enjoy getting other ladies out on the water and doing and having fun like me. So, I'm looking at maybe some destination trips out west, Louisiana, Florida, and those are my main, maybe North or South Carolina trip on that side. But I'm really wanting to go plan some trips for Big Reds in Louisiana. That's that and the out west trips, and eventually maybe an Alaskan trip.
Yeah.
So
I will tell you from experience, if you wait 2 weeks until after tourist season is over, the prices are cut in half, and the bull reds are still in the water.
In Louisiana.
So, yeah. And if you wait and go in December, January, I think that's when the I know the sheep's head are a lot more active there then, but it seems like that first, second week of October, you still have the bull reds and you still have a decent trout bite for specks. And do get a guide and go out on a guided trip for the
Oh
bull
yeah.
reds one time, because those bull reds are absolutely amazing. You know,
Well, that's how I found out about them. I do every summer. I do a salt trip to Gulf Coast of Florida, and I
hmm
always have a guide down there. And I told him, I said, I want some big reds, and he's like, let me hook you up with some people in Louisiana. So that's where I want to go next. That's what I want to put
yeah.
together.
Calm Water Guides is who I always use, and he started the I think it's the Ride the Red. I think it's what it's called. It's a kayak fishing redfish tournament
Uh huh.
that goes on over Labor Day weekend,
Wow.
and it is like this giant event down there in Grand Isle. But if you're a kayaker, or if you want to try kayaking, I'm not too sure I'd want to hook into a
I'm not
massive
on the
bull red
kayak.
on a kayak and go
No,
for about a mile and a half until it wears down.
I'll stay on a boat for that. So don't drag my hind end in the water or
It's a
wood.
lot easier to kick that motor up a little bit and fight that fish than it is to try and hold the rod and paddle.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing that one. I know better.
Yeah. But I mean, and I love the Gulf Coast, just the diversity of things you can catch between Louisiana and Florida, and even down along the Florida coast.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And fly fishing at night off, some of the docks down there. I mean, you're having a great time, and man, it's something that everybody should get to do. I absolutely love it. It's one of my happy places. Plus, I love going down there when it's like 40 degrees here and like 80 degrees there.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Well, and saltwater fly fishing is totally different from freshwater. It is. It's different. And it'll wear you down quick. You're using the heavier weight rods. You're stripping. Oh man, it's just something everybody needs to. Once they get into freshwater and they've got that down, they need to start exploring on some salt trips because there's nothing like it. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, swinging an 8 weight and a 10 weight with a giant chunk of meat on the end of it,
Yeah.
and then the fish fight so much harder.
Yeah. Well, you've got that fight. You're stripping. I mean, it's just the weight of the rod just wears your arm down quick. And then when you start hooking up a few at a time, you're pretty tired. You're pretty tired. And double hauling, getting your line, shooting your line out. Yeah, that's a workout in itself, but it's worth every second. It is so much fun.
Oh, it is. You sleep so much better at night after having gone out and done that all day.
Right. You don't make it till dark. You're absolutely wiped out. I think I crashed down
Well,
there
you got to
before
take
it
a
dark.
nap during the hottest part of the day.
Yeah, yeah. But
Take a little nap, get up, eat something.
that's definitely showing your age when you start taking a nap between your fishing trips. Uh,
Well, no, it just means we're very intense.
I like that one better. Yeah, I like that better than age.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Not getting older. We're just really hardcore at fishing.
exactly.
So that
We'll
always
call
makes
that
me smile about
hardcore
it.
fishing people, hardcore anglers. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Um, so we've gone about 30 minutes in, and I have not even had you actually read off all your socials yet, and I feel bad for that because people are sitting there searching online trying to figure it out now.
Well, that's
Can you
okay.
go ahead and give out your socials real quick?
I sure can. Everybody that's looking for us, they can find us Women, Wine, and Waiters on Facebook, Instagram, our website, Women, Wine, and Waiters, spelled out.com. And we have our own YouTube channel where we have some really nice videos set up on there.
Okay, I didn't realize you had the YouTube channel. I can actually shoot you a copy of this, and you can put it on your YouTube if you want to, so people can watch
Yeah,
your interview.
yeah, yeah. That would be great. Yeah, I'd like to put that on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's always so much fun when you get the cross collaboration between, the different groups. I've had several different varieties of folks on here. We had a couple of artists a couple weeks ago. three of them. And, just talking about outdoor art, we've had, professional fishermen and professional fisherwomen, all the way down to just the guy down the street who ties flies. And it's always neat to see the reaction that everybody gets. And so we're more than happy to share that with you, with everything that you've got going on.
Oh, I'd love to have it. I'd love to have it. I'd put it on my website as well.
Oh yeah, we'll send you a copy of it. One other thing that I wanted to touch base with on this, you came about with the women, wine, and waiters idea. I'm assuming that the fly fishing stuck longer than the blind date that you learned how to fly fish on.
Yes. I always get that question. Well, what happened to your blind date? I said, well, you've heard of catch and release, right?
Or was it catch and throw back?
Yeah, one of those things. Let's be nice. I'm going to be nice here.
Oh, have you started into tying your own flies yet?
I did a couple years ago, and I caught some trout on some of my flies, but boy, I'd be embarrassed for anybody to see what I tied. There's no way. I am really artsy and crafty and everything, but when it comes to tying the flies, I've really not just clicked in on it yet. I've just got so much going on. It's hard for me to really get the time to really get involved in that. Even like the cicada hatches, we're going to have cicadas, and I'm thinking, I got to get my vise out. I really need to learn to tie some cicadas and get ready for this. And I'm like, I hadn't done it yet. I have not done it yet. Just, you would think with the downtime that we've had here recently that, man, I'd be knocking it out of the park. I'd be getting on that and having it all done. But I just haven't got into it yet. Now, I'm hoping eventually I really would like to do a class with my Trout Unlimited here locally and, try to get me in it and teach me a little bit of the basics. And then maybe I would start getting rolling. But, not yet. I haven't, but I have caught fish on some trout on some that I did tie. But there's no ad shown to you. Don't ask.
The only thing more painful than tying flies and saying you enjoying it is going ice fishing and saying you enjoy that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there, they do a great job tying. It's like, whoa, those are really nice. But, there's just no way I'd tie any and let anybody see what I tied. I'm just
saltwater flies are great because they're on like a 2-aught hook. There's no getting close, no magnifying glass needed. And, warm water streamers are great, but I finally tied my first 16 this last winter, and I'm sitting here going, why did I buy so many of these hooks? Because and they're ugly. Oh, they're so ugly because I'm having to get real close up to it and look at it.
And if you're already in bifocals and a magnifying glass, it's like, whoa, there's only so much you can do. It's hard enough. It's hard enough to tie on your line, much less try to make them. So I got you.
That's exactly the thing. And I'll leave my cheaters at home sometimes when I get in the boat. And, so we'll be kayaking and I'll have to holler at my buddy to come over and tie a new fly on for me. And he's just looking at me like, you tied this. And I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I can get it on a hook.
It is. It's tough.
The material, the hook is a lot longer than the eye is.
Yeah. There's a difference. It's hard. Those little things, you got to tie those on. We were fishing, at one of the resorts here a couple years ago, and we wasn't catching anything. We were throwing everything out. And one fellow walked up and he was fishing with a size 30. And he's like, you want some? Like, no, because I can't see to tie it on. He did, and he tied that on my line. First cast, boom, hooked up. And I told him, I said, as soon as I lose it, I'm done because I can't see to tie those on. There's no way. No way. But
you know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Give away a gift bag with some really small, like size 16 and 20s in flies, and then give them size 1 tippet. They'll sit there for days trying to get those two to go together.
Mean, Sean, that's really mean.
I have never done that to one of my friends, ever.
You pinky swear? Something tells me I think you've done that.
I might have. It's always hilarious because my friends are like, "How do you tie this on?" I'm like, "What tippet are you using?" 2? I'm like,
Yeah, that's one of the things when you get people out on these trips. It's a lot to take on. It's a lot to learn. I try not to put too much out there. I try not to overwhelm them because if you overwhelm them, they're not coming back. It's too much on them. And when I take these girls, I'll be like, don't. Everybody wants to go to Amazon. Everybody wants to go to Amazon and buy that stuff. Here's a whole rod, your setup, reel, the whole pack. Here's a pair of waders for $30. And that stuff is no good. So I'll tell them, don't buy anything. Do not buy anything. I've got equipment. You can use I have equipment for them specifically to use. You use my equipment, and all these girls that are coming that already have equipment, you can see what's out there, and I'm sure they'll let you cast with their fly rods. Kind of test, because what I like, you may not like. Most beginners, you need them on a medium action rod. You don't want them on a glass or a fast action rod. And there's a lot of things that they don't know when they go out there shopping, or you don't want to send them in a fly shop and drop $500 on something either. So you need to kind of like get them in there, show them what's available, price ranges, and help them make a decision. And they may not make it that first trip. They may be calling me or messaging me months down the line, hey, I've decided I want to start buying some of my equipment. And I'll say, well, you buy a little at a time. Buy some of the base equipment as far as the rods and reels. And then as you, get better and get to feel things, you might start trying out something else and then start grading up. But, just don't walk out there. Don't go in a store and buy all this stuff. It's overwhelming, especially when it comes to leaders and tippet and flies, that's confusing for them. So I kind of keep it.
And I've been very lucky with Cutthroat leaders. It's a furled leader. It's a loop-to-loop connection on both ends, so there's no knots that you have to tie.
That's all I buy. That's it.
Yeah,
loop to loop.
And Arc Fly Line has a great fly line, and they have leaders, but I'm not going to advertise their leaders because I'll get in trouble. But they've got some of the best tippet out there that I've found for the price point and the quality. And so I've been really lucky when I take somebody new fishing. I just, loop to loop that leader on there and then tie a overhand knot in my tippet and then just run it through and loop to loop it. And boom, you have them fishing. And I remember when I first started, it's like, okay, you have to tie a nail knot here, and then you have to tie a blood knot here, and then you have to tie another blood knot as you step down from this size tippet to this size tippet. And it's like, no. Give you about 18 inches of tippet and boom, you're done for the day.
Yeah. You've got to keep it simple. If you don't, you're going to lose them. They're not going to return if you even keep them on the water. Now, one of the little things that I do when I've got people on the trip, and even seasoned anglers will take these. I make little cheat sheets. They're on like a 1.5 by 1.5, and I laminate them. And I've got your rod and how you put the rod together and all the knots that lead to everything. And then I've got the breakdown of how to do each one of the knots. And then I've got my web address on the back here if they need to get a hold of me. But I make these little sheets. They're on rings, like a key ring, and they can clip it on their vest or their sling pack. That way they've always got it with them for a reminder. And then I'll teach them the knots. One of the knots that I had the most trouble with when I started was the simplest of them all, the loop. Putting that leader onto my fly line. I always got it backwards, Sean. I was always getting it backwards. So when I have a problem remembering a certain way of doing things, I kind of make a up a little kind of way to remember. And my way that I remember that, and I teach that to the girls, is, I'll show them this fly line is expensive. You want to protect the fly line. Your leader, your leader is not cheap, but it's not as expensive as your fly line. Your leader's, $4 or $5. So your most expensive thing is your fly line. You want to protect that, and then you've got that loop. I'm holding that loop to the fly line, and I'm holding the loop to the leader. I said, you protect that fly line. So you're taking your leader loop and you're going to slip it over top the loop on the fly line as a halo. You're protecting that fly line. And then you feed it through, and you've got your handshake knot, your loop to loop. Those girls remember that. That's just one of my ways. Hey, this is an easy way to remember. And then with their cheat sheets, they know how to tie their knots. And, it's really amazing how much help that eliminates. They can actually do for themselves once I get them on the water and get them a little more acclimated to the casting. And if they would lose a fly, and they can tie their own flies on, because, hey, we've got that cheat sheet. It's hanging on my zinger. Just pull it out. Hey, I can do that. And a lot of them like being able to do it on their own instead of, hey, Pam, I need help. A lot of them like being stream independent and learning all those. So that's just what I do. I try to simplify things. I don't get them out there and try to teach them too much. The 3 simple knots, their cheat sheet, and get them out there and teach them roll cast more so than the false casting. And it has really helped them and helped me, because the sooner I get them stream independent, the better off we both are. So that's just one of my little ways of teaching.
The listeners have heard me say this before. One of my friends was a trout fisherman, and he fished for trout where it was wide open spaces, and he can double haul and throw that line out there. But you get him back here in southeast Missouri, southwest Missouri, and the Ozarks when trees are everywhere, and we spent an afternoon me showing him how to roll cast
because he's not used to it.
And there was no way to cast other than that, literally, unless you got on the edge of a gravel bar and tried to throw line down. But for casting over across the river, there was really no place to stand and get a decent cast.
Yeah, because if you've got a lot of overhang and brush around you, that false casting, that's not going to work. No. That's not going to work at all.
And so, I think that's a great idea. And a roll cast will get somebody out there. They'll get them casting and catching faster and faster and faster. And that is a great thing to teach them beginning.
More time on the water, less time in the air.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're not catching a single fish whenever you're false casting.
No, it's just wasted time, and just just keep flipping it out there, and the more you keep putting your line out and learning how to mend and get that natural drift, the more fish you're going to catch. And that seems I've got a trick that I was taught. Get your line up there. As soon as it gets in front of you, mend that line and let it keep on drifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just
teach the simplest,
as little as possible.
Yeah, the simplest little things, and it kind of sticks with them. And I think it's been pretty good for them. It's working. It works.
Yeah. So. Well, that is absolutely wonderful. Well, I encourage everybody that's listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube or watching us on the Women Wine and Waders YouTube channel, make sure you share this out, especially this one. Make sure you share it out to folks or gals, especially that maybe haven't shown an interest but don't really know where to go. And they can find a community here with Women Wine and Waders to really help bolster their esteem, their self-confidence, and maybe get a chance to go out and go to one of these great events. Pamela, this has been amazing. I really enjoyed our conversation. It's hard to believe we're right up to the end of time.
Oh, I've enjoyed it, Sean, and I appreciate the invite. And, speaking of, getting the word out and getting more people, you'd be shocked at the husbands that contact me to get their wife involved because they fish and they want a woman to work with their wife to get them out fishing. And hey, what better place to start than with us? And we enjoy it.
I've always made the joke I had no problem teaching any of my kids to hunt or fish. But when it comes down to it, the last person I want to be out there saying, no, you did this wrong, is to my wife,
Because you know better.
I know better. And that's, I don't want to do that. It's like, there are certain things you do together. There are certain things you don't,
It's like trying to teach them how to drive a stick shift.
Exactly.
It's no, you don't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love to have anybody contact us, and hopefully we'll be rolling some trips out. We're hoping if things stay in a positive direction, maybe this fall, we'll start maybe putting on some cast and blast trips. They're phenomenal. The ladies love it. Hey, and go to all of our social media sites. We've got tons of pictures on there. The girls on the gun stands, the shooting skeet. Plenty of pictures on the water, some of the phenomenal fish that they've caught. We just love to have everybody check us out and see what we're doing. And, if you've got any questions, just give us a holler, and we'd love to introduce you to West Virginia.
Well, I'll tell you what, after looking at some of your social media, I really wish I were a girl, because some of those trout they're pulling in are a lot bigger than anything I've had in a while.
We got it going on here. We've got it going on. We're loving it.
Yeah, you guys definitely know what you're doing, and definitely spreading the word about fly fishing, and for that I commend you.
Thank you.
So, all right, guys, this is Sean. Adam will be back with us next week. Be sure to check out the show, like and subscribe, leave a comment, you can leave a comment on whatever the podcast app is, but give us a 5-star review, because it's the 5 stars that matter. So give us the 5-star, and then leave us a nasty message if you want to, because we don't read those anyway. Same with YouTube. Hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Leave whatever comment. We're not going to read it anyway. Instagram, Kayak Flyer, you can find us there. You guys know the drill, where to find us at. Send out the show a little bit more. We're going to be trying to do a lot more video this summer, as we are reaching into a very fishy summer, the way things are shaking up. So we're going to be trying to do a lot more stuff, and we're going to need some more help from you guys out there in the Kayak Nation. So until next week, I am Sean. Thank you, Pam, again so much, from Women, Wine, and Waders.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate it. You have a great evening.
You too. See you next time.
All righty.